Yeah, that sense of stability is not necessarily there anymore. It's not guaranteed. You know, you could lose your job at any point. You could get sick and die. You could get evicted. Um, which is a situation that is happening to a lot of people. But yeah, it's just a very, very, very strange. I don't know. I guess like feeling of being underwater, which is not that completely different from regular depression that I would have felt, just pre-COVID, but this one just feels like, wow, it's just very, very deep. And yet, I mean, like I feel like I also sometimes feel really, really good, and I don't know if that's an experience that other people are going through as well, that these mood swings during quarantine, they've been intense, and they've gone full spectrum. I mean, nothing really in the middle. It's pretty rare for me to have a day where I feel just, like the article was saying, fine. Like, I feel like that's not normal. Like, I wish I could feel that again, because I don't feel that way. It's either, you know, just very, very overwhelming feelings of just heaviness, and like feeling trapped, and just, just spiraling into it. And then other times it's just like being very motivated and inspired, and I'm gonna do this and that and pursue these hobbies, and I'm gonna take advantage of this time that I'm not necessarily going to work every day. And I'm so being grateful and content, and then it goes away, and it's just weird. And there's also things where, like, let's say I'm outside at the park or the beach, just sort of feeling a bit more normal, and then you have those reminders, like the helicopters in my city. There's helicopters flying over you, hovering, like, pretty much all the time, every day, and since March. And it kind of takes you back, like, oh, right, like we're still it's still, we're still in this right now. But yeah, I guess all of this has made me think, about time in general, and the whole thing with the new normal. And I mean, yeah, the new normal while everything is crumbling. It's kind of a weird thought to have, but essentially, yeah, what do we do in this new normal? For me, I think it would be very good, and it's something that I'm seeing too, that people are reconsidering essentially what you do with your hours in the day, specifically the work day. I know some workplaces are starting to consider a hybrid schedule, so people working from home and having that be a thing that stays permanently even after all of this gets settled, which I personally think it's long overdue. I personally think the whole system of working at an office, being there for 8 hours a day, it's a very obsolete system. And I feel like in the same way that we left behind factory jobs and just the whole, like, very intense 12-hour days, 16-hour days that they used to have, we're going to have that same revolution coming from this. So, teleworking is going to be a thing more present in jobs, especially office jobs. maybe shorter work days, at least in the US. I know some European countries, they do have like 6 hour days, or just like they don't have 40-day or 40-hour weeks, but 30-hour weeks or whatever it is. Like, I think that is something that's going to be implemented. Maybe not right at once, but I think it's something that people in general know, or are starting to realize that it makes sense. That, yeah, we shouldn't have all our day be at work, or we shouldn't be just freely giving our time like that, especially because you just don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I think about, imagine just, you were, let's say, like, you were just living your life, whether you were a very happy person or somebody who was experiencing just being down all the time. Let's say if you were the happy person, you had all these plans. Oh, in April, I'm going to take this trip. The next month, I'm going to finally sign up for the class that I always wanted to do. I'm going to finally pursue this. I'm going to, settle that. I'm going to do this and that. Or even if you were the depressed person, or, someone who was having a hard time already, you were just worrying about, problems, bills, I don't know, traumas, whatever it is, but you were just worried. And then you get COVID, and then you go on a ventilator, and you don't even get to do any of that stuff or settle anything, or you stay with that worry that you had before, and then you go on a ventilator, and now you're facing death directly, and then you die, and that's it. And I mean, I'm not, I don't know, I just feel like, I mean, but it doesn't have to be COVID, like it could have been any other circumstance that could have happened. It could have been a car crash. It could have been, I don't know, just a random freak accident. It could have been, an accidental overdose, anything. It could have been absolutely anything that could have killed you. And it's just like, what? I fear for that, for anyone to leave this world without, I guess, doing what they want, and crossing all their T's and putting dots in their eyes, or whatever that saying is. And I hope, I really, really hope that with this, we will be able to really demand and take steps into changing policies and laws, and just a general consensus of like what exactly is our role as humans, but also how we spend our time, and whether we can still give our time freely like that to your job or whatever else it is that is not necessarily in alignment to you or your well-being. I guess I would like for the workplace to have more of a work, what is it, work-life balance, but truly, in the true sense of the word, and have a more, I guess, for people to have more opportunities to actually address their well-being and their self-development, especially for people who have families, who are parents, who have big responsibilities and people counting on them to take care of them. Especially for those people, I would like those changes to happen. And yeah, I don't know, when I think about it like that, what all this grief and death and sorrow, like what can we you know, what beautiful thing can come out of all of this suffering. I believe we can come together and bring these changes into the world. We've been sorry we've been seeing those, calls to action with the Black Lives Matter protests, and all these movements that are happening currently. More people are questioning the system itself, or just the circumstances we've been given, that we're I guess told that, okay, this is your cards. These are the cards that you've been dealt, and I feel like people are starting to be like, no, that these are not fair cards, and this is not my hand, and I refuse to take this hand, and and it's both terrifying but also very inspiring to see. But yeah, currently I just feel, I don't know, it's heavy, but I I like to think that something good overall is gonna come out of all of this. And going back to the COVID depression, and essentially, the struggles of just coping in general, really. I don't know if these insights or anything that I said is necessarily helpful. I just really feel like I just wanted to put it out there and to have a discussion if anybody, wants to say anything about it. But for me, what I'm trying to cling to, because lately it's been very, very hard to feel a true sense of peace and comfort. Even with, incorporating spirituality or religion or anything like that. Like, it's been hard, but at least I'm trying to just be a bit more practical. So, since I did lose my routine, and for a while I didn't really know how to build a new routine during these times. I guess, as simple and silly, or not silly, but just like dumb these tips might seem, I do believe that it's very important to build a routine, even if it's quote unquote pointless. But just small things like making your bed, trying to keep your place clean, getting exercise. And I personally would recommend, if you have the condition for it, to do it every day. But exercise as much as you can. Your food, diet, sleep, all the basics. This is not gonna make you feel 100%, but it will definitely help. Especially with sleep, at least to me, if I don't sleep, if I'm sleep deprived, I do start to feel like borderline suicidal. It gets pretty bad. So I definitely watch your habits, your daily habits. I would avoid substances, for the most part, but everybody's free to do as they wish. And if it helps you, well, that's a different topic. There's different kinds of substances, but I guess what I'm saying is, if you are feeling extremely depressed, I would personally stay away from substances. But that's just my personal experience